I just got back from Mexico yesterday. My sister wanted to have a beach wedding. She called me right before the wedding, and she asked me to write a speech. And this is where you start diving down into the recesses of your memory, and you start noticing just because we've had rocky parts, in the latter part of our lives, but it got me thinking about when she was little and what it was like when she was a baby and I was a 12-year-old kid. And it reminded me of how I used to hold her hand through the crib because I was the only person that she would fall asleep holding hands with. Oh. So I would have to, every night, go into the room. We shared a room, but I would try to stay out in the living room because I didn't want to go to sleep at 7 o'clock like a little kid. So I would go in the room and I would just put my hand through the railing and wait till she fell asleep. And that's what we did. And I didn't get emotional when we were standing there for the wedding. It was something else that got me really emotional because I'm standing up there. We're waiting for my sister to walk down the aisle. And I looked out into the audience and I saw my mom's biological mother, who we just found a couple years ago. After a bunch of years of looking for her and trying to figure out what's going on, we found her. She's part of our lives, lives with my mom now. And she's sitting in the audience next to my mom. And next to my mom is her stepmom, the woman that married my grandfather. And next to her is my mom's half-sister. They had never met each other. This was the first time that they had ever come in contact. They didn't even know about each other. And then I looked over to the left, and my mom's brother passed away when I was 18. My mom was a teen mom. My uncle was like my dad. And he was the way that I held my sister's hand when she'd go to sleep. He was that for me. He would come pick me up sometimes in the middle of the night, 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning. 1 o'clock in the morning, wake me up and say, "You're coming home. We're having a sleepover." And I would go with him. That was the relationship I had with him. He was like my big brother / dad. Gotcha. And he passed away when I was 18. But when he passed away, he had 2 little kids. He had my cousins, and they were, I think, they were babies when he passed away. Okay. I think 2 and newborn. And we found a way to get them to go to the wedding. And I had not seen them since they were 5 and 7 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. I hadn't seen them. And I started tearing up because the older one is named after my Uncle Ricky, and he looks just like him.
Oh.
It was like my uncle was literally sitting right there at the wedding.
Very cool. Gosh.
And I just felt myself start tearing up, and my brother-in-law looked over and goes, "Bro, your sister hasn't even come out yet." I was like, "It's not that, man." I'm like, "That's not. I just can't help it. I'm just getting hit with all these emotions right now because I'm seeing family that I haven't seen in so long."
Did they recognize you and remember you and stuff?
Yeah, so they do. So we do keep in touch on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So we talk, but there's something different when you're corresponding with words and pictures than seeing them in person.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And hearing his voice. He sounds just like his dad. And I had to stop myself at one point because I caught my mom constantly bringing their dad up and going like, "Oh, you do this like you're." And I had to go up to him and go, "Listen, if it's too much, if we're talking about your dad too much and it's taking you to a place of sadness, tell us, because we're bringing it from a place of happiness because of how much you guys remind us of." And he looked at me and he goes, "No, I've been waiting years to have this kind of interaction with you guys." And he goes, "If you don't mind, I would like to sit down and ask you about my dad because I don't know him." And I said, "I would love that." Unfortunately, we drank too much that night and we were not able to do that. But I did tell him, I said, "Listen, man, I want to fly you out to come out and see us in the United States, and we're gonna have that sit down and we're gonna
that's awesome,
we're gonna talk."